Okay, so I've put the diodes on the stops now and also wired up the common buses. But what I've also done is that all the wires from the keyboards and the pedal board I've now connected to the interface plate for our encoder. I'll go over that in detail later on, but basically it just makes it a bit easier. They're all kind of, well, reasonably neatly connected to that. It just gets them out of the way before we end up with another bunch of wires coming from the stops. So just coming back to the stops then. As you can see, they've all got diodes on, just like we did with the keyboards, and again, the same as we did with the keyboards, they are in lots of 12. So on the keyboards it would have been the 12 notes, on the stops they're still in batches of 12, so each common line covers 12 stops. Obviously these aren't going to be octaves, but the last one only covers 7, because there aren't that many stops. So that's how that works. So the 12 diodes or stop switches we're going to wire up just like we did with the keyboards. So if we start with this one, call it number 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So all of the number 1s will connect together, all of the number 2s, all of the number 3s and so on, just like we did with the keyboards. So we're actually going to end up with 12 stop lines if you want, and in our case there are 3 or is it 4, hang on, 1, 2, 3, there'll be 4 common lines. So what we would have called octave lines on the keyboards, they're common lines for the stops. So I'll wire those up, get those back to this interface board, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've wired up all the stops now. As you can see, it's exactly the same as the keyboards. So there's a diode on each one, all the number 1s together, all the number 2s and so on. The wires from the common buses here, there are 12 switches on each bus, just like there were 12 notes on each octave for the keyboard, so it's exactly the same thing. I've used red wire this time instead of black, just bit of contrast really, and obviously makes it easier to know that the red wires go to the stops and the black ones go to the keyboards. So that's all connected up now to our interface plate for our encoder. So really the next thing to do is to program up an encoder and give it a test, make sure it works.